Hello everyone, this is Cindy from Realism Films, and today we'll be looking at some cool uses of a monopod. And I don't only mean for like drone or jeep shots, what you'd usually use your monopod for, but in some other interesting ways it can still aid your smartphone filmmaking. And yes, we have a change of scenery. We are on the rooftop of my building. It's gonna be a little bit windy, but I think it's going to work wonders for this video, so let's give it a go. And for the purposes of this video, I'll be using the Manfrotto Compact Black. This is one of their cheaper, I think, products. It can carry up to 1.5 kilograms and extends up to 145 centimeters, which I think is enough for like smartphone filmmaking. First up, a boom pole. Now, I really like boom poles, but they're hella expensive, and usually you need a boom, like a sound guy, you need a boom operator to be able to achieve the best effect. But if you don't have one, but if you have like a friend that can easily like help for your film and just kind of step into that role, you can use a monopod and a separate microphone to mount onto your monopod and create a boom pole for yourself. So let's see how we're going to do that. I'll be using the Takstar microphone.
Tired of your microphone not picking up any sound? Try the Takstar SGC598 Ultra Budget Shotgun Mic with the cardioid directivity characteristic to effectively reduce any ambient noise, a 0 to +10 decibel gain control, and a low-cut filter. The Takstar SGC598 allows you to record sound as never before. Order yours today at 555-598 Takstar.
This is a very cheap microphone. I think it's about $20. At least it was $20 when I bought it like 5 years ago. But it's a handy thing. It's pretty cheap, but it does get the job done. To be able to use it with my smartphone, I need this, which is a TRRS to TRS cable. And the next thing that I'm going to need is an extension cable. Now I'm going to be using this extension cable that I'm currently tied up with. This is the MOVO PM10 extension cable. It's sold separately, but I bought it just for purposes like this. So I'll be using this with the Takstar to create my boom pole with the monopod. Cue the montage. I feel like I'm missing something though. I know it. The spitting image, right? Is this a boom pole on the cheap? Definitely. Is this a good audio source? I don't know, you have to tell me. Like, the Takstar is a decent microphone. It'll get the job done. I think this can work particularly well if you have a friend that can step in as like the boom pole, like the boom operator. This is a good option with a microphone like this. If you don't have the money, if you don't have the budget, and you have something like this lying around, this is the way to go. It can definitely pick the audio, I feel. Like, I can probably lift it up a little bit more. If you can still hear me, then it's doing the job. It's also super lightweight. That's one other thing that I have to mention, that this doesn't weigh anything. So you won't get tired of holding like this construction in your hands. Construction is not the right word. This rig, it's a boom pole rig. This rig. Good to be back. So if you're wondering why is this thing hanging from my belt, just an interjection here. I kind of stole this from Cassius Rayner at Go Film It. I asked before I sold it, I asked on Twitter. There's like a recorded conversation of me asking if I can steal it. It's actually pretty comfy. I don't have space in my backpack for this because I like filled it with other stuff. So this is kind of cool. It's kind of stylish, right? The reason why is this on my belt is because you can create your C-stand with a monopod as well. Now I have this 5-in-1 reflector over here and I want to use it when I'm outdoors. I want to use it to like flag some scenes, but I can't always have the height to achieve that. So what I need is my trusty monopod to be able to extend it high enough with the reflector attached and use it as a flag or as a diffusion. Let's see how we can do that. This is the kind of tricky part. You kind of have to find the exact place. I usually use like the thinnest portion of like this last part of the monopod to hold it in place with the clamp. But for this one over here, this is a bit trickier because it's the thicker part, but because this happens. So you have to be careful. Usually you wouldn't want this to happen while you're filming and have like your friend or yourself, whoever's using this, to get slapped in the face because this thing is heavy. Like, make sure that this is secure. It's a bit fiddly, I'm not gonna lie, but for creating a C-stand on the cheap, this is how it looks like. Usually I use the, like I said, this portion here, the thinner leg, just to have a little bit more purchase over here. So let's do that and see how that feels and looks, because this is a little bit unbalanced to me. Right, this feels a little bit better. Now I have a little bit more purchase over here to be able to hold it and kind of distribute the weight of it a little bit better. So let's turn the phone around and see how this looks in the sun and what type of like difference it makes. So I have the sun hitting my face, and let's imagine for a second that there's a second person here that's kind of responsible for taking care of like the diffusion or the flag. Obviously it's just going to be me right now. Clearly, this isn't something that you will be able to do yourself, especially if you're also filming and you're kind of like, you know, focused on getting your shots and just getting your scenes. So if you can grab a friend and just convince them to kind of hold this for a while, especially when you have like super sunny days like this. Obviously, you're going to be using an ND filter, but the reflector does a like completely different job, and you still need it for some scenes. It's just going to give another feel and look to your film. I use these, like I said, clamps, but I'm pretty sure you can use gaff tape if you can kind of, you know, wrap it around tight enough. But I feel this feels a little bit safer, especially when it's windy, so it's a little bit more sturdy. So let's now check the diffusion. So to get the diffusion, you have to undress the reflector a little bit, because the diffusion is hidden in the middle. This reflector and most of these have these nice grips over here that you can easily, obviously, use it like this. But the idea of the monopod is just to have a little bit of height, which sometimes you need. There we go, diffusion. Let's go and check how that looks. So does this work as intended? I kind of feel it does. if you can secure it well enough, I feel like these clamps, like I said, secure it well enough, I think you can get something out of this for the purposes of like experimenting and just trying different stuff with mobile filmmaking. I think this is a clever way to use it. All right, let's go to the next one. Now it's kind of like the reflector in terms of what you transform your monopod to, but it's with a light. And more importantly, one of this is like a very cheap light from IKEA. I think it's about like $2 or even cheaper, depending on, I guess, which IKEA you're using. But this is something that has been done a bunch of times. I'm pretty sure you may have seen it on like Film Riot's channel or other places. This is a handy and very cheap diffusion that you can create, and you can like put in a light bulb or a light inside this and use the monopod just to have it like positioned in such a way that the light is going to be shining in your actor's eyes, but at the top portion of their eyes. So basically you're going to be lighting them in the correct and the proper film way. Now these usually tear up pretty easily. Mine already has some damage over here, but like I said, they are quite cheap, so best advice, get a few because it's definitely going to get damaged. This is how our light bow looks. Is that we're going to use the strap of the monopod. Stay in place, please don't fly away off the rooftop, to create a kind of a harness for our light. And you can do this in any other way. I'm pretty sure you can use like a rubber band or something like that, but they just have this strap that it's usually useless for other stuff, so I'm going to repurpose it for this. We should have our light. This is how it's going to look, and it's kind of in the same vein as the reflector or the boom pole. You'll be able to hold this above your actor's head, and you'll be able to give a nice diffusion to his face. You're going to be using this mostly indoors, obviously. Usually it would be a light bulb that you have in here. I have the small Sukani light, which is very practical. It's very light, so it can easily stay inside this bowl without falling out from the hole. So I can use that if I'm very careful and if I know what I'm doing and I know how my moves are and how like my equipment behaves. I can easily use that, so we're going to do just that right now. Does this actually work? I think it does. I don't think the Sukani is a strong enough light for the purposes of like this combination. And again, you're never going to be shooting at a completely dark room with this type of like a light bulb. You're definitely going to be shooting in a room that you have like other light sources in, like a key light or a backlight. I think the best way to use this is to have like a light bulb that you know the kelvins of, because I think that's the most important here, to know what type of light you're putting in this and what type of light you are diffusing. So if you have that and if you want to experiment with that, especially for mobile filmmaking and just to give a different feel and try something new with your smartphone film, you can definitely use this. Like I said, it's quite on the cheap. You just need a monopod, and I'm pretty sure most of you have monopods at home, and just a very cheap garden light like this, like bowl light. Alright, so last but not least, using the monopod is weight for your gimbal. Now, if you know gimbals like this, you know that they're quite lightweight. Maybe some of you have had that problem there where you kind of feel that your gimbal is a little bit lightweight in your hands. The DJI OM 3 is a very lightweight, it's a very compact gimbal, but that's one of the, it's not an issue, but it's something that you have to kind of take into consideration. So I saw this, it's a good tip that Sea Horrocks from Mobile Motion I hope I pronounced your name correctly, C. I'm sorry if I butcher it, but you gave this tip in one of your videos, and it has been helpful to me. And I tried it a bunch of times, and I felt a big difference when I was using the gimbal. So thank you for that. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below, and obviously a link to C's channel on YouTube. It's one of the best out there for mobile filmmaking and for learning new stuff, and just for having ideas and just getting to know what the mobile filmmaking world is. So go and check it out. So now, obviously, you're still going to hold your gimbal over here on its own handle, on its own grip, and you're going to let the monopod kind of work as a weight. That has a different weight distribution, and it's a different balance, and you can feel the weight of the monopod coming down. So now when you're doing your moves, you feel that there's something else kind of helping you achieve your shots. If you have a monopod at home and a gimbal, and if you have had kind of some troubles with how lightweight it feels, or maybe if you haven't tried this, give it a try and see how much of a difference it makes. So, is the monopod a handy tool to have for mobile filmmaking? I think so. If you have it, just try it. Is it handy for mobile filmmaking? Definitely. I think it's very helpful for a bunch of different types of filmmaking techniques. So I think it can be a lot of fun to use. If you have creative ideas on what to combine it with, I think it's a very handy tool to have in your smartphone filmmaking backpack. So thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Till next time.